Oh boy, SciShow Kids.
What do pandas, orangutans, rhinos, and
seasonal anime
have in common?
They all smell?
Aside from being animals that you probably only see at the zoo, these animals are all endangered.
You got that right, sister, cause look at this list. This selection is worse than the brand name foods at an Aldi's. And where's my fucking Pop-Tarts? I'm supposed to try to make a seasonal anime video out of this? This is gonna be like trying to build an effective condom out of my own semen. Well, it's 2020. COVID's effect on anime has given it more cancellations than the entire Smash Brothers community. Heck, it even got rid of cockroaches. There's no brand new isekai this season! Well, if the whole world's on fire, might as well just fight fire with more fire, right? And that is exactly what we will do, as Fire Force is back for its second season. Now I normally wouldn't go balls deep Disney and cover a bunch of sequel seasons, but well, as you know, I ain't got much to work with. I also realized some people gave up on this show midway during season 1 due to the earlier episodes containing questionable writing and fan service. Even though I usually enjoy it, the fan service in season 1 had worse timing than a turtle with premature ejaculation problems. Despite that, I encourage everyone to give this show a second chance. I really thought the latter half of season 1 was much stronger. Plus, there's a new director for this season, and it's already shaping up to be much more lit. The comedic scenes have been amusing, the fan service hasn't interrupted any serious moments, and the action scenes continue to be animated in hella stellar fashion. However, Target employees, you guys might not want to watch this one so you don't suffer any Vietnam flashbacks. The next anime is known as Decadence, and it was created by a relatively new and unknown studio. Give it up for... Studio Nut? Sorry, I'm 12. So I can't exactly explain too much about this anime, as it's one of those shows you kind of need to go into blind. A small synopsis of the show boils down to an Attack on Titan-like setting where humanity lives inside of a moving fortress to shield themselves from alien-like creatures known as the Gadol. Aliens? Are we sure this isn't just Studio Trigger's left nut? Working in the fortress are warriors known as Gears, who venture outside to fight off the Gadol. This show feels like it has a strange mix of really good traditional animation and awkward CGI. The traditional animation must be the nut, and the CGI must be the post-nut guilt. Hopefully, it doesn't turn people away from the show, as I've seen people do that with other series. And the CGI isn't the worst I've seen. I highly recommend anyone that tries watching this show to view the first 2 episodes multiple times, as I appreciated it a lot more on my second viewing. And now, for the ultimate simp series. In this anime's version of Japan, there exists an app that lets people rent a girlfriend. Well, guess I won't be needing any of you anymore. After being broken up with, Kazuya, a college student, decides to give the service a try to fill the dark void in his pants. This ends up leading to him and Mizuhara, the girl he rented, getting into a more awkwardly complex situation with family and friends than they were expecting. Yes, the girlfriends? Is the bathwater included separately? No. And what do you mean my renter's insurance doesn't cover blurry feet pics? The MC of this show is a complete and total shitbag, but with all shows like this, I'm watching it for the glorious women, baby. And I find the girls in this show to be pretty enjoyable. I just wish I could be such literal garbage in real life and still get surrounded by beautiful women. Anyways, I dig this show, but I can see why some peeps might hate it. After a long wait, the third and final season of my teen romantic comedy is finally here. For those who haven't seen this anime, I extremely advise watching it. It's one of the most genuine slice-of-life series I've ever seen. It captures the high school social life very well. The characters are quite relatable, especially the MC H-Man in times like these. In this final season, the service club begins to prepare for hosting a school prom. Meanwhile, the struggles of the romantic triangle between H-Man, Yukinon, and Yui start to reach a climax. I adore the hell out of both these girls, and H-Man being stuck to make a decision in this triangle, it gives me some Vietnam flashbacks of my high school trig class. This is also why I'm a strong supporter of polygamy. Why choose one waifu when you could just get with both? Hey, Studio Nut, where are you at? If I'm gonna discuss species facing the threat of extinction, then I've gotta bring up a doctor that prevents big booty monster girls from disappearing. I don't really know how else to describe this anime besides labeling it as an alternative timeline of Sword Art Online where Kirito gets stuck inside a Monster Musume game and chooses the medic class. If you're a sick bastard that gets horny over monster girls like me, you might enjoy this. Despite the lewd content, I surprisingly found this wholesome. Geez, when I was a kid, if they had made that Operation game like this, then I would have been more inclined to beat it. Also speaking of monster girls, a variety of them desired to be impregnated by the world's strongest fighter in Peter Grill and the Philosopher's Time. Though the main character Peter must attempt to avoid the monster girl's advances as he's engaged to the king's daughter. What do you mean I have to pay for ogre child support if she gets pregnant? You know what? I'm canceling my subscription and going to rent one of those human girlfriends. Available in Uncensored, if you want to get your dick into anime, here's the seasonal anime for you. Wait, you mean Studio Nut didn't really make this one? No way. Well, since there's so little shows this season, I decided to cover this rock to pad for time. Anime does filler, so why can't I? And don't tell me it's not an anime because I ordered it from Japan. This hard boy was created by Studio Nut. And look, it's animated. Continuing the rise of webtoon adaptations is The God of High School. It's also being used to promote Crunchyroll's first official book, I Spy, Crunchyroll Edition. Essentially, a bunch of tournament arcs from different shonen anime decided to have a giant orgy to produce this show. The protagonist, Mori Jin, a taekwondo specialist, is invited to join a martial arts tournament labeled The God of High School, where he discovers many others that use a variety of fighting styles. From a conceptual standpoint on paper, The God of High School might sound generic, but it overcomes that by executing its intentions very successfully. The animation of the fight scenes and the representation of the various fighting styles has been more fluid than the bastard child of a cactus and a fire hydrant. That combined with well-timed comedic moments, goofy freak-spirited vibes, and intense character emotions gives us a pretty damn fun anime. It's also a refreshing feeling to have the series take place in South Korea, where webtoons originated. Wait a second. I can't believe it. They actually took my advice. Okay, forget that shitty I Spy book and the Monster Girl Operation game. It's time for another seasonal game of...
The fun is trying to guess when you play Guess Who.
Is your person bald? Yes.
A very good question.
Does your person have a beard? Uh-huh.
An excellent clue.
The fun is trying to guess when you play Guess Who.
Game cards do not actually talk.
What? So, even if you've been turned off by the flood of isekai series and have yet to give ReZero a shot, I highly advocate starting it. Due to the nature of the show's concept, it barely ever feels like a traditional isekai, and despite some of the shit he's gotten, I'd argue Subaru is a much more compelling protagonist than most isekais. He's already shown some multiple instances of development in this season. Meanwhile, the world and cast are beginning to expand even more, thus furthering it being one of my favorite anime. There's more Amelias? Oh, this is heaven! So yeah, go watch Season 1 so you can join me for the ride of ReZero 2. After growing tired of ridiculous amounts of fighting between various races, Anos the Demon King decides to let himself be killed so he can be reincarnated. Only he gets reincarnated in the same world 2,000 years in the future, so that means it's not another isekai series! The truth is, Anos intended to get his soul reincarnated in his world's future to gain a more peaceful lifestyle. He also wanted to witness what would become of the world if there was less fighting. However, he discovers that the world has become too peaceful as his descendants have grown weak. Magic is also close to getting added to the list of extinct species. To solve this, he enrolls in the Demon King Academy in an attempt to reclaim his title as the Demon King. I was actually expecting the series to be hot garbage after the trailer and reading its premise, but it's actually pretty enjoyable. Move aside Guess Who's Rem, cause it's even got Castle Fidget Spinners. Production-wise, it's pretty nice, and Anos is a likable MC that gives me big Lelouch vibes.
殺したぐらいで俺が死ぬとでも思ったか
I thought it would. From the creators of Guess Who's Rem and Castle Fidget Spinners comes a brand new drinking game. Take a shot each time she says senpai. So can you help me out, Doc?
キサリアさんの不調の理由をお伝えしに来ました。
Uzakichan Wants to Hang Out is an anime that's title speaks for itself. College girl Uzaki is an energetic and trollish girl that keeps pestering her upperclassman Sakurai, who desires a quiet lifestyle. Essentially, Netflix and chillingly suffering. I found this show to be very humorous, as the dynamic between the two leads makes for some great gags. Uzaki's voice actress is doing a hella stellar job as well. But I just can't seem to understand these body proportions. This is like if that midget from Game of Thrones walked around with a 10-inch bulge at his pants.
最初はテレビのニュースで見たと思う。伝染病だって話だった。封鎖に成功したって。みんなは狂牛病とかそういう病気かもって話してた。
Shit, I'd take that over Corona. Then we'd be able to still go to conventions that could be, and the monsters could be our real cosplay. Wait, you mean you're telling me that the monsters we turn into are just bad CGI? Fuck it, no. Just give me a Corona instead. Go back, I'll take Corona instead. Well, every anime season's gotta have at least one total train wreck. I dig the art style and the idea of the show, but the awkwardly timed soundtrack, questionable writing, and piss-poor animation CGI really hold it down. There seriously needs to be a bad CGI monster Pokemon rap at this point.
Oh yes, I'm the great pretender.
Yes, Netflix kidnapped another anime this season, and this time it's even more disappointing due to how little are discussing it when it's quite spectacular. Great Pretender is the anime that Studio Wit created on their own after leaving Attack on Titan in what felt like the biggest abandonment since Sasuke left the Leaf Village. First, I have to give this anime massive credit for its marvelous opening and outro. The opening has splendid animation that appears to be inspired from Saul Bass's title sequences in classic American films, while the outro features a Freddie Mercury song that shares its name with the anime's title. Bonus points for parachuting felines. Great Pretender is about a Japanese swindler named Edamura who attempts to trick a French dude named Laurent. Instead, Edamura gets counter-tricked by Laurent as he's an experienced con man. Laurent then lures Edamame into joining his group of con artists who get involved in various wacky scenarios of deceiving corrupt people. Those antics feel quite Robin Hood-esque at times. Color palette-wise, the show is an absolute beauty. With a wide array of highly saturated colors, the show surprisingly manages to make everything mesh together well, without frying my eyes so hard that dogs think they're bacon. The fluid animation is paired with some nice instances of cinematography like in these flying scenes, something that we know Studio Wit is no joke at. I don't want to go too much into detail, as the show is jam-packed with witty twists and turns that I guarantee even Studio Nut wouldn't see coming. Even when you think you've grown to expect the show's formula, it surprises you, truly living up to its name. Thus, it sort of feels like an anime version of Better Call Saul. Or, I could just essentially summarize it with this SpongeBob clip.
We've been duped! Duped! Bamboozled!
We've been speckledorfed!
That's not even a word and I agree with you!
Most of the episodes of this series are actually available to torrent, so if you don't want to wait for it to escape Netflix jail, go start watching it. All the schemes playing out are madly exhilarating, and much of the cast is given compelling motivations for their actions. So far, I genuinely feel that this anime is a contender for Anime of the Year. Well, that's it for the slim list of anime I'm covering this season. Give me a nice pat on the ass, though, for being able to accomplish this video with so little anime. I'm surprised there are arguably just as many decent or good shows this season than normal ones. Isn't that right, Rocky? Anyways, I'm gonna go play with my Castle Fidget Spinner and then bust a fat studio nut to some more sci-fi kids.
You can also help out animals that live in your area by taking care of their habitats. That means doing things like recycling and throwing away garbage instead of littering.
I'll do it for anime, baby! Fuck. Is anyone good at that Operation game? Oh, hey, look, it's my Pop-Tarts. Hey, what is crackin' Booty Brigade? Unfortunately, I'm releasing this a little bit later than what I wanted to. A couple days ago, my PC and a bunch of parts in it decided to shit the bunk bed all at once, but, you know, nonetheless, it's out, so I hope you enjoy it. Usual Patreon thanks to Shin AMB as well as everyone else that supports me. More information in the description below, but, you know, fuck reading. And, well, that's about it. You know, make sure to hit all those buttons so I can make like an extra nickel. Peace out, Booty Brigade.